a world that's full of clones. My originality's focused on principalities broken. I'm loaning my heart and soul to the game that's scared to pay it back. And failure is a motherfucker. The strength to go on and believing in another sucker.
What is happening, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another fantastic Wednesday on Gentlemen's Talk. I am your host tonight, Mr. GQ. Of course, as you can see off to my side over here, we have got Mr. Your Goat in the building. What's happening, man?
What's good, everybody? Hope you guys do enjoy this show. Links will be provided in the chat and in the comments section, so you guys can check out this episode on Spotify and numerous amounts of Gentlemen's Talk episodes. So yeah, as you can see under my name, I dislike killinghaze.org. That is my entire personality whatsoever. So.
And as you can see, I have promoted myself. I am the captain of the FRFO Coalition. For those who have slept under a rock, that stands for fuck around and find out. Anywho, we got us a loaded, packed show because we are going to recap a wild Saturday in sports. So we're going to get us kicked off with a little bit of boxing. Of course, for all my boxing fans out there, you guys got to witness Canelo Alvarez doing what Canelo Alvarez does best, and that's win. He won another fight. It was pretty one-sided, unless for some reason you thought that was it Dimitri or whatever the hell the guy's name was had a chance. But even with Canelo having a career low of 84 punches overall, he still was going to win that fight decisively. Like Bivol looked so far, he looked out of his element. Like he did try to rely on his defense a lot, but it wasn't enough to beat the champ. What are your thoughts on that?
Did you say Bivol?
Yeah, whatever the hell that guy's name is.
John Ryder.
Yeah, one of them. He beat both of them.
He lost to Bivol. Well, I went to the event actually because it was here in Guadalajara. I had the opportunity to go there, and it was a fantastic night. I enjoyed the fight. One, because although John Ryder isn't the best opponent ever, I did like his heart. I did like the fact that he threw back to Canelo. And yeah, I mean, Canelo did what he did, as GQ said. I mean, he was good. He was fast. He was powerful. One thing that sort of kind of worried me was his composure a little bit when John Ryder was hurt. And I understand when someone's hurt, you're going to try to take him out, especially in front of your home crowd. But I don't remember what round was it specifically, but when John Ryder was hurt, he was stumbling on his feet. He didn't get knocked down necessarily, but Canelo was just winging shots. And you could see after that round, Canelo was getting even more tired progressively. And I think John Ryder took 2 rounds at the end or even 1. So, yeah, that's my thought on the fight.
Good deal. And that's just how I felt watching and going back. And even right before the show, I was like, let me just go look at these highlights again. And I'm like, something did feel a little bit off about the fight. And then I couldn't quite put put a hand on it. But like I said, Goat, you kind of hit the nail on the head. He didn't jump on him when he really should have. And he should have ended it. You got the man stumbling. You should have ended it. But sometimes, being boxing and UFC fans, we forget, he can't just charge at him, knock him down, and just start throwing hammer fists and put him out of misery. Like boxing's a little bit different. You can't be throwing wild punches because you might be subject to an uppercut and get dropped yourself. So you kind of got to keep your head on the swivel. But other than that, I didn't really like much of the undercard. It was a little underwhelming for me personally. I don't know about you. You were there, so you had essentially a front row seat, if you will. Were there any other fights that you kind of thought were at least worth watching?
I mean, I don't know necessarily because I sort of came in late. I did like the Ronald Batista fight. I did like it, but other than that, yeah, I do agree that it was underwhelming. Because a lot of people sort of came in late. Nobody was really that early paying attention to the fights. People were normally on their phone. I was actually watching the fight, but yeah, it was sort of underwhelming. It was just not that too much action like other undercards in boxing. But to me, that's fine because the main event was, in my opinion, amazing because I was there live and the fact that Canelo won. But yeah, it was underwhelming.
Yeah, so glad we share the same thoughts on that. All good in the world. So let's make a quick little pivot because, of course, on top of all that, we also did have a fantastic UFC card go down as well. You had UFC 288 go down. Great card. there was a lot of buildup to this card because it had ramifications. Because we all know that if Gilbert Burns would have took care of business, Gilbert Burns would have been in the title picture for the welterweight title. But as we can clearly see from the results of that, Mr. Muhammad took care of business. He won via decision.
Yeah.
Don't know necessarily if the fight was that close.
No, it wasn't close.
Because I don't know. It just, I don't know. Muhammad just looked like the much better fighter. He looked like the much better athlete. He looked like the much more conditioned, like everything. He checked all the boxes and I don't know if the fact that Gilbert Burns taking all these fights so quickly, so much back to back is what finally bit him in the ass, but he just didn't look the same in this particular fight. What are your thoughts on that?
Definitely. I mean, when you look at these championship fighters in the UFC, the reason they're so successful and they do win a lot of their title defenses is their breaks in between. They have time to freshen up. They have time to focus on one opponent. I think he only had 3 weeks to prepare for Bilal Muhammad.
Yeah, it was definitely something like that.
And with that, Bilal Muhammad is a hard fighter, even though a lot of people criticize him. He is a pretty hard fighter to deal with his wrestling, his kicks, his striking has gotten a lot better. He doesn't leave his chin in the air as much as he used to. So
definitely not.
And from an injury standpoint, you are going to get injured. You are going to get injured because you can't just 3 fights in how many months? 6 months, 5 months? Like, you can't do that. Like, I'm not saying, I mean, you shouldn't do that in my opinion, because you're just going to get yourself prone to injuries. You have to get time for your body to rest, because Gilbert Burns has not had time to rest any of these months, because he's had one fight from another fight to another fight. And I get it, because he wants to be in a championship title, but it's going to bite you in the ass, just like GQ said.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to take a quick pause real quick because all right, so we have breaking news real quick. So, of course, as you can see on the bottom, we have got Zamora, the queen of From the Sidelines. So that means we got a special announcement coming from Player versus Team. Queen Zamora, take it away, please.
Biggest James Harden fan, by the way.
Yes, biggest James Harden fan. What's up? I'm in the building. I appreciate you guys. Tomorrow we're going to have a wonderful segment. I got this hair rag on because I'm about to premiere the Himothy braids. For go hard and listen, y'all. I'm about to premiere the Himothy braids. You're gonna see it firsthand. But I'm gonna get onto the docket. We're gonna talk about first. The name of the docket is y'all gotta apologize to James Harden. We gotta apologize to the drip guy. We also want to talk about Randall. Seems like Randall don't want to be on the Knicks no more. We also want to talk about a couple things, especially with the Nuggets, because it looked like the Nuggets actually might get eliminated. So I got a couple things on the docket. I got a couple questions I want to put people in, and plus we all are going to fan out on our favorite teams. So I got a couple people coming through. So anyways, go Harden, 6s and 6, and I'm going to let you take it. GQ, what's up?
Hey, what's happening? Appreciate that. Of course, like I said, if y'all not watching Player versus Team, what are you doing on your Thursday? Because you missing out. Turn Up Thursday is always in full effect on Player versus Team. What time you rocking and rolling tomorrow?
We always do the same time, 9 p.m. I don't know what it is on your coast, but on the Eastern Coast, it's 9 p.m.
7 p.m.
Gonna be
Pacific, 5 p.m.
Western. But anyways, yeah, we're gonna get into it, and it's gonna be the go hard and drip guy. The whole theme is about to be wild, about to be bananas. I'm on Kirk off, and I'm gonna so just know.
That's what I'm talking about. Looking forward to it. It's going to be a good show. Hey, y'all hop in the chat. Y'all make sure y'all turn that thing up tonight and tomorrow. Let them know. Let's keep it pushing.
But by the way, that was me trolling on TikTok.
You a liar. I don't believe you a liar, go.
That was me.
That was
I'll show you the comments. It was me. Ask Troy.
It might be you because you put the Killian comment, but it don't matter.
Mm-hmm.
But even with that being said, GQ, you better be in the chat, because guess what? If the other Himothy, if Hemi Butler sweep, that sweep take over the Knicks, you better.
You mean gentleman sweep? Like the game is tonight. I'm gonna be there. Watch it. It actually starts. It starts here in a little bit.
GQ, you better be on my joint talking your shit, because that's your boy.
Oh, I'm always going to defend everything and all things Miami Heat. That's just what we do around here.
You better be on there talking it. You better be on there talking it up. Because
Look, we are on a collision course for a bubble championship rematch. I said what I said.
I mean, I'm not gonna hold you. I still think it's rigged for LeBron to get another. But with that being said, like I thought they was going to give it to the Nuggets because the Nuggets is the hardest to guard. But it could go so many ways right now. It really could go so many ways. Like the Sixers might even make it from the East because the Celtics D looks so bad. That could happen. I don't know. So, anyways, it's a free fall. But anyways, I'm gonna let you go.
Pistons and 6.
Come through. Sixes and 6. Anyways, bye y'all.
All right, I appreciate it.
All right, appreciate it.
All right, folks, y'all heard it. That was the queen of From the Sidelines. That was Zamora. Y'all catch her coming soon on the From the Sidelines Chronicles. It's gonna be a fantastic interview whenever it happens. So we're gonna get back on this UFC 288 card. We was talking about Gilbert Burns and Muhammad, which we know what happened, but I missed out because I wanted to drop down to the fight that happened before that, which was Jessica Andrade back into the mix. We thought, I was like, all right, she came back. She's been away for a little bit, but Jan got in that ass. All pun intended. All pun intended. First round, 2 minutes, 20 seconds. Jan looked unstoppable.
Shit, it was surprising. You know why? Because I think before this fight, she hasn't had a KO or TKO or even a submission finish. She has not finished anyone in the UFC up to this point. Jessica Andrade is a blockhead. Like, she's a blockhead. Like, she's not the most. She's pretty difficult to knock out completely, knock down or whatever, right? So yeah. I was definitely. I'm excited for Jan. I did like the fight. You know, Jessica Andrade came back. She's still a great fighter. I think she can do something. But you know, yeah, it was an exciting fight. I really did like it on the main card.
Yeah, no, I did. I was a big fan, and I don't know why. Even though we've been watching UFC for as long as we have, like, there still should have been. Oh, you getting trolled? I had to put that up there real quick.
That's fine. I mean, that's fine. Like, I'm not a Killian Hayes fan, so
I'm right there with you. Like, and we'll get to that when we start talking WWE. We're gonna be live and in color. But
Killian Hayes is the worst player in the NBA. He's worse than a G League player. He's worse than Dylan Brooks. He should be the one saying "ni hao" instead of Dylan Brooks if we're real about it. So you can talk about Killian Hayes with me all day. So if you want to troll me, talk about something else, Yomaro, because I can talk about James Harden all day.
Look, you heard it. It's getting flamed up, but. What I did like about watching that fight with Jan is it shows me that, one, she had a hell of a successful camp. Mm-hmm. And clearly she worked on striking.
Yeah.
Because it looked very fluid. And I was like I was like you. I was like, hold on. I ain't seen this before. Not like this. Like she did have very good. She always had a stiff jab. But this particular fight, something looked different. I just couldn't quite figure it out, but everything about it just looked like, and I hate to kind of say it like this, but it was kind of Zhang Wei Li, like, you know, like she's very, very precise, with her shots. And that's kind of what Jan looked like, almost on like some Valentina Shevchenko. Like it was very, very precise. And I think that caught Andrade by surprise. Mm-hmm. I truly do, because I think Andrade came into this fight thinking, all right, I've got the power advantage. I've got the takedown advantage. I've got the submission advantage. And Jan caught her with something she wasn't prepared for.
Mm-hmm.
So moving into the main event, the controversial main event, and I call it controversial because every single person that I talk to either they just don't like Sterling for some reason, which I don't know why, or they're like, oh, you know, he only got the title because, you know, of a DQ and all this stuff. And I'm like, listen, you can say what you want about Sterling. Yes, he won the title in a
bad way. Yeah.
It's not a bad way. It's not his fault that the guy used an illegal up kick. It's not his fault.
It looked in a bad way, like in terms of like
it did. But as a fighter, as a professional, no matter what sports you play, you know what you're not supposed to do, and that could have gone a really, really wrong way. Because what if he would have severely injured Sterling in that fight behind that?
Yeah, like we don't.
Well, I mean, like I'm talking about like take him out for an extended period of time. Like there's the people who don't watch the UFC as much as like not the casual fan. I'm talking about the avid fan. All right, those of us who watch enough of it, we understand why you're not supposed to kick somebody in the back of the head, even though obviously you should know why. But if you don't, you can kill somebody.
Yeah.
Because guess what? That is the top of your spine. Guess what it's connected to? Your brain. You catch a blow to the back of the head, you literally can drop on the spot. Like, it is a very dangerous thing. And if you notice, that's why when you get kicked behind the ear, you drop quick, because there are a ton of nerves right there. And a sudden blow to the back of the ear will drop you if it catches you just right. There's a reason why those types of knockouts happen. Ask Ronda Rousey what happened when Holly Holmes kicked her in the face.
Yep.
I mean, it's the truth, because she caught her right behind the ear, and she dropped immediately because it's a sudden blunt drop to the face. This is what it is.
Do you remember when was it Gonzaga when he knocked out the Croatian guy that always did his kicks?
Oh, I know which Croatian guy you're talking about. Why can I remember his name right now? Yeah, I know which guy you're talking about too, but because you said it and I was like, oh, I remember the knockout you're talking about. He tombstoned him.
Yeah, and it was right behind that ear, I think.
Yeah.
I was right. Yeah.
But he caught him, sudden shot, and he tombstoned him, and there was nothing you could do about it. Like, there was no blocking it. There was nothing. You were done.
Yeah.
But other than that, the other fights, I was like, I mean, the Evolov fight in Lopez wasn't bad. It was all right. Went 3 rounds. It was a decision fight. Charles Jourdain and Kron Gracie was actually a pretty good fight for a featherweight fight. I was actually like, it was. I like every now and again on our UFC cards. I'm a big fan of that one fight that's got a fast pace to it, and that was that fight. That was the fight. It had the fast pace. I was a big fan. I was like, all right, this is good. And just like kind of like we talked about before, sometimes I feel like the flyweights don't get enough love in UFC. Like, they pop up every now and again, but they don't get highlighted as much as you would like.
Wait, was the Kron Gracie fight a flyweight? Or was it
that's one. Yeah, so I'm talking about the fast paced fight. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Hey,
yeah, Gracie and Jourdain was flyweight.
Matt Frevola versus Drew Dober.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Who does that to Drew Dober?
Clearly, he did.
Yeah.
But, it happens. Like, that's the thing about UFC, though. UFC is so random. That's the word we're going to use. Like, because you don't know. Like, styles make fights, and you might have 2 power fighters, and all of a sudden, you get tapped out, and you're like, wait, I thought somebody was going to knock somebody out. Like, that is the beauty of mixed martial arts, is the fact that you can put so many different disciplines in one octagon and have no idea what's going to happen.
I'm still waiting for Aikido versus Judo, by the way. No, Aikido versus what's it called when those 2 fat guys get into it?
Sumo.
Sumo. Aikido versus Sumo, best MMA fight you'll ever see. But yeah, in terms
I don't know if we'll ever see that in UFC, if I'm being honest.
No, they're not good. They used to do that back in the old days, where like
back before back when you could fight pretty much anybody for whatever reason.
But in terms of styles, you're definitely correct. I mean, you could have Derek Lewis versus Francis Ngannou fight, right, where you expect these guys to knock the heads out of each other. And I do understand why those guys were careful with each other, because you don't want to end up knocked out in the mat. Those 2 guys have power, but that was like one of the most boring fights you'll ever see.
Yeah, you could tell they were both kind of like, they were like tiptoeing.
Yeah.
Because they're like, all right, if I swing wildly one time, I might be subject to a counterpunch. And I think that's the thing. They're both a threat to counterpunch and knock you out at any given time in that fight. Yeah. So they were trying to see, all right, who's going to make a mistake first? Who's going to make, and then they ended up being a fight that most of us probably fell asleep watching. But it happens. Let's preview UFC 289 because it is around the corner. For those who for some reason slept under a rock, Juliana Pena is not in this fight anymore. She is out. She has been replaced by Irene Aldana. So for those who do not know who she is, I urge you to go look at some highlights.
Yep.
This is going to be an interesting fight. I do still think the advantage is with the champ, but it is one of those fights not too different from Juliana Pena as far as don't get caught sleeping. Because Aldana will catch you slipping if you go into this fight looking past her. I'll give her that much. Like I'm not going to write her off in this fight, but the champ is favored in this fight.
It's sort of like the Shevchenko versus Grasso fight, where I did
Agreed.
it. I wanted Grasso to win. I thought it was going to be close, but you had to give the advantage to Valentino Shevchenko because of her stand up and ground skills. So
Mm-hmm.
that's essentially what's gonna happen. What we're gonna be looking at in terms of this fight. We're gonna give the advantage to the champion, but especially after that the first Juliana
Mm-hmm.
Pena fight, we can't just say that the champion is gonna win all the time. Yes, you can give an advantage through due to some skill sets, but you can't just say, "Oh, man, Nunes is just gonna wipe the floor clean," like it's not gonna even be a problem. Like, no, you can't do that anymore.
No, not at all. And at the same time, too, she does have 3 submission wins on her, on her record. So
Mhm.
something to note. Be mindful of this when this fight goes to the ground. If it goes to the ground, Irene Aldana can get her into a submission. She's already done. Like she's not the Nunez, but she's proven that she can win with the submission game. So that gives you an idea that Nunez is fighting an all-around fighter.
Yeah.
And that's as a champ, you have, and I'm sure she's done her due diligence and watched film and done the things that she's supposed to do. But this card overall, Goat and I we're talking about this pre-show. The undercard is very much UFC fight night
Yeah.
level. It is.
Except
I'm sorry. Like, and we're not throwing shade at the fights, but the co-main event and the main event are your normal pay-per-view style fights. All right. Charles Oliveira is a pay-per-view box office fighter. Just what it is. And so is Darish. Darish is this fight right here. This is going to be a very, very, very compelling fight.
interesting too,
Because
yeah.
I like the two styles in this fight.
Mm-hmm.
I like the two styles a lot. We know Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira is one of the most dangerous fighters that UFC has.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that because Charles Oliveira reminds me a lot of prime Anderson Silva. And here's why I say that. Because Charles Oliveira will beat you in every way possible that there is to beat somebody. And that was Anderson Silva at his peak. He didn't have to knock you out. He could submit you in a heartbeat. He really could. If you slipped, he lived up to his name being the spider. Like this man and his limbs, like he would put you down multiple ways. Charles Oliveira is the same way. If you have him up against the cage and you leave an opening and he can grab the head, get you on a takedown, whatever he can do, he has some of the fastest transitions for a lightweight in that division that you will see.
I mean, yeah, I mean, look at the Jim Miller fight when he fought against Jim Miller.
Oh,
That
yeah.
dude picked him up, and Jim Miller was defending well.
Yes,
Picked
he
him up, put
was.
him on the ground, and then boom, just immediately went
Yep.
with that nasty, nasty round rear naked choke. And like when we look
Yeah,
at Charles Oliveira, especially when in these championship fights, right? He's been so dangerous because
Mhm.
the fact that okay, Dustin, Chandler, and Gavji, they've been able to knock him down, but they don't want to do the ground and pound. With
No, because
Islam,
they know what's going to happen if they do that.
but the difference with Islam was that he had the confidence to go down in the ground because he's such a great wrestler.
True.
And in terms of Benil, he is a good wrestler. He's a damn good wrestler. But I don't know if he has that same confidence for against Charles. I feel like Charles will still go out with that same game plan of okay, if I get knocked down, then you know what? I'll just open my guard up, see if he wants to try me in the ground. But
Yeah, no,
it'll be interesting.
I agree with that assessment for sure. Um, and we'll see. I want to see if this fight goes to the ground. I really want to see how aggressive Benil will be
Hmm.
because that'll tell us the story of the fight. Because we know what Charles Oliveira is going to do. Charles Oliveira is like playing chess. He's going to wait for you to make a mistake, and when you make a mistake, he's going to make you pay for it 10 times over. And that's just the way he fights. You can have this man's face messed up, make a mistake in the 5th round if you want to, and the fight's over.
Hmm.
And that's the type of fighter that's why he was such a great champion, because he was never truly out of a fight. No matter what the situation was, he was never out of a fight.
He's not like no disrespect to Izzy, but in some fights, Izzy just like against Jared Cannonier, and I know Jared Cannonier has a ton of power. You have to be careful, but just coasting, good leg kicks, solid like counters, but not really pushing the fight. Charles Oliveira will go at you, even if he's the champion. He will go at you. It doesn't. He'll have his guard up, he'll run towards you. He'll just walk through you,
Mm-hmm.
even whatever you throw at him. He'll take it like that Kevin Lee fight. He took a lot of solid punches from Kevin Lee. I was gonna say Keith Lee almost. No,
No,
Kevin Lee.
we look, we're not on wrestling yet. You are so excited to get on this WWE, and I am too. But we gotta get this UFC finish first.
I'll talk about the TikToker.
Oh, the food guy, food critic.
Nah, but he's also an MMA fighter. He's the brother of Kevin Lee, by the way. I don't know if you guys know
Oh,
that. But
hey, the
yeah, I
more you
mean,
know.
he took a lot of punishment from Kevin Lee. I think it was the second round where he took him down and started running, pounding him. But in the third round, Kevin Lee did a mistake where he was just too wild trying to finish the fight, and that's where you meant with the mistake. You do one thing wrong with Charles Oliveira, boom, you'll
Mm-hmm.
get put to sleep, or with a knockdown or a submission. Reminds me of Anderson Silva too, like what you said, like when Chelsea was doing fantastic, but one mistake,
Oh,
boom.
yep. In that fight, man, Chael Sonnen was talking so much shit too. Like,
Uh,
but that's the
he-
thing. That was gonna be a career-defining fight had Chael Sonnen won that fight. Like it was. If he wins that fight, he would have had an astronomical takeoff in his career because Anderson Silva looked unbeatable. Like he looked like he was just not ever gonna lose in UFC by the time that they fought.
Chael Sonnen shit talking to. Why are you speaking to Anderson Silva in English? He pretends he doesn't understand it, and we have to hear a second time with Ed Soares.
Yeah.
With an app I can replace 99. Like he's such a great trash talker, and he was doing so well in that fight.
Mm-hmm.
He was just taking it out. Maybe that's because of juice, but secret juice. But he was still doing well. He was still doing well.
But you know, it happens. We unfortunately it is a part of the fight world. We at some point, you know, we deal with a fighter that we're all fans of, and all of a sudden they pop hot for this, that, and the other.
TJ.
Yeah, you know, it's a part of sports. No matter how we want to look at it, it's happened in every single sport in one way, shape, form, or fashion. Baseball probably the worst, but that's neither here nor
Lacrosse,
there.
even lacrosse or cricket
Yes,
people are
and I'm like, come on, bro, you a cricket player? Come on, dog. Like, what do you need in performance enhancing drugs for when you got a big ass rectangle of a bat that you swinging? Like, what's happening?
handball,
Hey,
bowling.
oh man, if you get caught juicing for bowling, man, I'm a clown you for the rest of your life.
You know,
I'm
man,
sorry.
I'm sorry, but I was taking some TRT and EPO for my next bowling event, man. My body was failing me. I
Man,
needed
what-
to take some TRT.
Yeah, your wrist was weak from playing with yourself too much, head ass. Like,
Yeah.
oh man. So we gotta do it. We gotta highlight it. There was a lot that happened at this particular event, but man, backlash in Puerto Rico, man. Holy shit. What a show. Start to finish, what a show. Well, I'll say what a show. The last two matches were a bit of a drag. But
Yeah. But
as a collective whole, Puerto Rico was a phenomenal crowd.
mhm.
Like, I hadn't seen a crowd pop like that since the first time that WWE went to Saudi Arabia. Like, that's how big the crowd made a difference in this entire show. And of course, Bad Bunny was the MVP of the entire pay-per-view, like point blank period.
Mhm.
Like,
Last
that's
time,
all. Yeah, good.
last time I saw a crowd react like that was, I think it was 2011 when I went to a Mexico card SmackDown where Sin Cara versus Sin Cara, greatest fighter of all time, by the way. And you know, the crowd pop was fantastic. Alberto Del Rio came out. It was great, and this Puerto Rico card did not disappoint. Although like the main event and the second, was it the second to last
Yeah,
fight?
there was the last
Yeah.
two matches. The co-main event and the main event were just
They weren't bad fights, but it's like I would have much more preferred to see Zelina Vega and the Bad Bunny fight as the two like
yeah, no,
last fight.
I definitely think the street fight definitely should have been the closeout match for the show. Like,
Mhm.
that would have been a phenomenal way, because when that music dropped and you had the entire crowd singing Bad Bunny's theme song, like that is unheard of. Like, now seeing that on TV was great. Like, I know how that crowd felt because back a couple years ago when the Royal Rumble was at Minute Maid down in Houston, I was there when Edge came out during the Rumble. And when I tell you, it was one of the most deafening sounds I've ever heard in my life. Like, when Edge's music dropped, I almost lost my shit because everybody, and I mean, and Minute Maid is not a small stadium.
Mhm.
You couldn't hear the person next to you talking. That's how loud it was when Edge's music hit.
But like,
And
dude, like I love those like crowd deafening. Like I remember two. I'm just gonna say two real quick. One was I was at the Sacramento card when Uriah Faber knocked out Simone.
mm,
Bro, if you hear that bag, everyone was screaming. Like you couldn't hear anything. Other one was it was a final for Mexican soccer team I support. We hadn't won in 7 years, and we scored a last minute penalty, and everyone went wild. So I feel you when you mean crowd noise, crowd ambience is what makes sports, in my opinion. You see how happy those fans are. You see how entertained they are. You see how much they love. They're passionate about what they're watching in real time. So it's fantastic that Puerto Rico. It was fantastic.
yeah, and since then they've already discussed. It's been put out that a lot of the WWE talent backstage, they want Backlash to permanently be moved to Puerto Rico, just like how Crown Jewel is in Saudi Arabia and all this stuff like that. And I'm like, I'm not against it one bit,
Me neither.
because we see this a lot in, especially being, I'm gonna date myself a little bit here. So I am 33 years old. So I have been a wrestling fan since the 90s.
Damn. No, I'm joking.
So this is back, and of course, ironically, when I started watching wrestling, I actually was watching WCW first. I didn't really watch a lot of WWF at the time because WCW is how I got started, and then the Monday Night Wars. So I was a kid. I was younger than you when the Monday Night Wars happened. I used to get home from school, get my homework done, so I wouldn't miss a single second of the Monday Night Wars. Still to this day, the greatest wrestling storyline you will ever have seen. And to watch that live and the fact that it crossed over amongst 5 different shows was just nuts.
Mhm.
So I've just seen the growth of it. Now, so I love the fact that, something like a major pay-per-view like this can be exclusive to like Puerto Rico. Cause I do like that Crown Jewel is in Saudi Arabia, the way it's set up, because you need to take care of your crowds that do certain things for you. And the way that Puerto Rico reacted gave you everything that you needed to know as to why they deserve to have an annual show there.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. Let's recap this card. Of course, right out the gate, you had Bianca Belair versus Io Sky. Overall, the match to me was about a 6. There was a major botch in that match that could have actually severely injured Io Sky. I'm thankful that it did not happen, because I'm a big fan of Bianca Belair, not just because of how she looks. I think she's an extreme talent in WWE. I really do. Like, she's one of those, because those elite athletes that transition into WWE do so well, and she's one of them. She was a track and field athlete. She's a power lifter. She's a very powerful woman, and it's a beautiful thing to see that level of athleticism on full display. But that match, I don't know, it was missing something. I just don't know what it was. It wasn't bad. Io Sky looked strong in the match. Of course, Bayley came out and everybody talked about the dump truck that she was toting.
Damn.
But they didn't even realize that she had Io Sky's name, shaved up in the back of her head, supporting her teammate.
I thought it said Bayley.
No, it said Sky, but no, because everybody was so focused on that dump truck and the way them pants was set up, with all the stitches in there. But of course, and then what threw me off really about that match is the timing. The timing of Damage Control was terrible. Why would you wait till 97% of the match being over to finally drop the group into the fold? Because it essentially cost Io the match in a sense. If there was a chance she was going to win when Damage Control came out, it actually threw the timing of the match off. And I don't know how many people noticed that, but it threw the timing of that match off.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, I'll give it like a 6.2 or a 5.5, to be honest, like 5.5 to 6 range. I mean, it wasn't a bad match. I understand why it was there. I like those two women a lot. I like what they've done. I liked a lot of their solo matches, but yeah, it kind of felt weird, to be honest. The pacing was a little bit weird, I could say. I wanted a better pacing, like more faster. It was just like sort of just slow, and then when Damage Control came in, it was just weird. I did like when they came in, mainly because of Bayley, but yeah, not much to say on the match. Wasn't the most exciting match ever.
No, it was just a match, and it's weird because WWE has done really well the last 4 pay-per-views with their opening matches. They've usually been really good and set the tempo for the entire show. And what I'm about to say won't make a lot of sense, but it's going to happen anyway. I actually think this next match we're going to talk about actually should have started the show, and it was Seth Rollins and Omos.
Mm-hmm.
I actually thought this was going to be the worst match on the entire card because I don't buy a lot into Omos. And then I did a little bit more reading. And first of all, let me ask you a question, Go. Did you know that Omos is only 29 years old?
Omos 29. I thought it was like 35.
Nope, he's 29. So what that means is he still has a ton of room to grow as a true giant, which means he eventually will. With MVP and with currently, if he stays on his current trajectory, by the time he is that 33, 34, he could actually be that polished, dominant big man. Now, I say that to say I actually enjoyed this match. I enjoyed this match way more than I thought I was going to. I actually gave this match an 8. I gave it a solid 8 because Seth did carry the match, but Seth did exactly what he was going to do. And that's hard to do. I don't know how somebody is that small can manage a match with somebody that big and still make it look compelling. That's the word I'm going to use for right now. But Omos still looked strong, showed off that power. Every time Seth tried to do something power related, Omos, big booted him or, big faced him or, egged on the crowd, this whole "this is my house" thing, all the usual shit that Omos does. But I enjoyed the match because it is, I love the build because, and we'll talk about this after the show, but I mean, after we're done with this particular part of WWE, but it's a great build for Seth Rollins for the future. And I'm going to put a pin in that because we're going to come back and revisit that. What were your thoughts on that match?
Much better than I expected, as you said. The early interruption of Seth's gloating was a nice start. Omos showed he's not a slouch. Inside the ropes, he still could use some work. He's still gonna improve, but as you said, he's only 2-9. So, his improvement. How can I put this? It has improved to a point where I'm not complaining about him being on the cards. Like I'm actually starting to enjoy some of his matches, enjoy it, and it's partly due to Seth Rollins and his incredible work rate. How he can work with these big guys, small guys. He can work with anyone. I can guarantee you, he can work with anyone. An indie guy, he can work with him well. That's how good he is. So,
well, he already proved that by working with AJ Styles. That was those two put on one of the best matches you've ever seen.
And at the end, I mean, I didn't really love the sell of the top rope curb stomp, but there isn't really much.
I thought it was borderline dangerous.
Yeah,
because it really could have went wrong.
Yeah,
like and it's because
Draymond stomp.
Just jumping off the top rope onto the back of somebody's neck or head is just, it's just dangerous altogether. Like the curb stomp, and I love the timing of it. When you watch it over and over and over again, Seth Rollins does a really, really good job of timing it to where it looks about as authentic as it's going to look, given obviously we know how wrestling is set up. But it's at first I didn't know how believable of a move it was going to be, but the more I watch it, I'm like, it's actually a pretty damn good finisher. It's same as when Randy Orton was doing the punt kick. I was like, holy shit, this looks so dangerous. But the more you watch it, and you're like, oh, that's how he pulled it off so well. Like there's a lot of factors that we don't see that go into some of this stuff. But
I'll give that match a 7.27.
So as of right now, Omos is 0-2 on big time pay-per-view matches. He lost to Brock Lesnar, obviously, at WrestleMania, and then he lost to Seth Rollins. So he is on a bit of a downward streak here. But I don't know how you build him.
If this was boxing, his career would be over. That's how.
Agreed.
Oh, how can I put this? Like if you don't lose a match in boxing, it's so important. But if you lose one match, then your career is over. But yeah, not to change the topic, but
no, but you're right. But so the third match on the card was the triple threat match for the United States title. You had Austin Theory, you had Bronson Reed, and of course you had the almighty Bobby Lashley. This match was all over the place in a good way. This was a chaotic triple threat match. Excuse me. This match looked exactly how you expected a triple threat match to look. there wasn't a lot of lag in this match. There wasn't a lot of rest time. It was just bang, 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 bang. Whether it was Bronson and Lashley, or it was Lashley and Theory, or it was Theory and Reed, or it was like double teams, like it was a great all around chaotic match. I know a lot of people are upset the way that Austin Theory won, but guess what? If you've been watching wrestling for longer than a year, you know how it goes when a heel is a champion. They're going to use quote unquote tactics that you think are unfair, but realistically, they're actually brilliant. Because what did he do? He waited until one of the big guys was down from a special, threw Bobby out of the ring, and pinned Bronson Reed. It was smart. It makes sense. If I'm the smaller guy in a fight and the two big guys are trying to take each other's head off, I'm going to let them do it. When one takes the other out, I'm going to get rid of the one that just did it, and I'm going to hurry up and pin the other one. That makes way too much sense, in my opinion. Overall, this match for me was a 9. I love the way it went. I love the action. I love the pace. Because I'm a big fan of fluidity. And this was one of the most fluid matches. And it's hard to do with 3 people. But this match was very fluid. Austin Theory is slowly but surely, he's getting a lot better. As weird as that might sound, like I know everybody doesn't like the push he's getting, but you've got to respect the style that he has, the charisma that he has. He's a good US champion, like he is.
Yeah.
And it's hard for people to grasp that, but we have a lot of young talent in wrestling. We have to find a way to highlight that young talent. You can't just have Bobby Lashley having the title for the longest time. You have to have other champions. Bronson Reed was with the company in NXT and was a damn good, fighter, then got released, then got brought back because Triple H loves Bronson Reed a lot. Bronson Reed is the biggest Australian I've ever seen. But
or might but I mean, facts. I mean, Theory. A lot of people were so annoyed at him beating John Cena, but I'm like, dude, you have to give these young guys an opportunity. It made more logical sense for Theory to beat John Cena to get his moment, to cement his U.S. title reign. Because how many times have we seen John Cena just come back and win the title?
A lot.
And I'm not saying that's the worst thing ever, but I prefer seeing Austin Theory win. Only thing I wish was he could change his theme to that song that people are putting on TikTok of him. Sparkles and Champagne.
Yeah.
Imagine if he actually does it. That would be so funny, though.
It'd be cool. I say it'd be cool. Actually, it'd be funny as hell. But
I'll give this match an 8. I really love the pace. I wish it would have lasted a little longer, but I do understand why they cut the match a little bit short, so the other matches could get more runtime. Surprisingly, really good performance from Brunson, in my opinion. Theory was pretty good. Lashley was good in the fluidity in terms of fighting against Bronson. His pace was good. I did like the inclusion of him. There was good moves and a great chemistry. Sort of a pity that it was kind of short, but as I said, I understand why it was short. So those are my thoughts.
I'm with it. So we have to get to let's call it the emotional match of the night. And that was Zelina Vega versus Rhea Ripley, or Mommy, whatever name you want to use for. I didn't understand this match at first. And then I completely forgot the whole thing of Zelina Vega and her ties to Puerto Rico, because I didn't understand why she was in the main event title picture already. Because I was like, she didn't have any signature wins that validated, Zelina Vega's up next for the title. Like, nothing really made sense until I was like, oh, yeah.
What are you talking about, dude? She has the best 619 ever. Like, come on, man.
Okay, we're talking about a move.
I'm joking, dude. That 619 was slower than my granny doing it.
Man, slow ain't even the right word. That mug was that was ass.
That was slower than Kron Gracie punches.
Like, I don't even know how you could sell it, but it was sold. Because I just would have been watching like, is she gonna kick me now? But it happened. But like I said, we understand. We watch enough wrestling, and usually when you got a pay-per-view in that home country, if you've got a superstar that's from there, you want to try to highlight them in some way, shape, form, or fashion. And that's pretty much what happened. So still wasn't a bad match. Zelina Vega held her own, but this is going to be Rhea Ripley's title for a very long time. I do not see her dropping this title probably until the Rumble, if I'm being honest. Like I don't
Yeah.
that's just how I won't be surprised if she holds it all the way through Mania either. But she, at the minimum, I don't think she drops it till at least the Rumble. And she's gonna have it through SummerSlam. We've got now, of course, because now Backlash is over. We've got the results of the draft, all the shakeups and stuff going on.
Mhm.
So we'll see.
Yeah,
Night of Champions is around the corner, but you know we'll cross that bridge here in a little bit when we get to it. But what I give this match, because of the hometown element and the crowd and everything else that I thought was pretty good. And I did, now granted, the 619 was molasses level slow, but the Meteora was great.
Yeah,
The Meteora was great. It was
What would you
good. It was
give the match?
good. Second,
What would you give the match?
I'm giving this one a 7.5.
I'll give it a 7, just a 7 straight.
yeah. If this would not have been in Puerto Rico, I probably would have gave it a 5.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I like Selena Vega a lot because that's my boo. No, I'm joking, but I do like Rhea Ripley a lot as a champion. I don't think she'll drop the title anytime soon, as you said. The people were like Selena Vega should have won because it's in the home crowd, and people don't understand it. It's the same thing with the Sami Zayn fight. I understand you want someone to win because it's in their hometown. It'll be so much more special, but it doesn't make sense right now. You can't have Zelina Vega as the champion when the only thing she's done is be part of the LWO. Like, you can't be a champion just because you were part of the LWO when you wanted a special request match, which made me. I understand this match, but at the same time, I don't understand it because imagine if Zelina Vega was actually in a position to win, if she actually proved herself, right? And if she won, that would have made it much more special. If she won right now, we've not proven anything, it would have looked dumb. So to the people wilding out about that, calm down. She was not going to win. I did actually write a note during the match, which was this match from a story perspective felt really shoehorned in. Vega got a pretty positive perception, as we all know. But then again, there felt like there was more pandering to the fans in this match than the actual build-up. It made Vega's almost inevitable loss even more insignificant, which is a shame because I like both wrestlers. It basically felt like a nothing match, even though the Puerto Rican crowd was fantastic. But it felt like a nothing match because we all know who was going to win. But Zelina Vega has a lot of time to improve, and I think 100%. She will.
And everything that's been going on with the LWO and the Judgment Day has really been revolved around Rey and Dominic Mysterio. It hasn't been really around anything else.
Hey, have you seen those interviews with Damian Priest and Dominic Mysterio with this one Puerto Rican guy? They start speaking Spanish and they're like still in character. It's so funny.
Oh, I think I actually saw something like that on TikTok not too long ago. When I was on there wasting time when I should have actually been doing homework.
You know that photo of like Rhea Ripley saying something to like Dom?
Oh yeah.
And the Puerto Rican guy was like, "What is she saying in that picture?" Right? And Dom was like, "Okay, you know what? I'll tell you because I really like you. You're my friend." So what she told me was, "None of your business," like in Spanish, "Que te importa?" And everyone started laughing, and his face was so serious. His Dom's face was like dead straight. Like he's such a good character.
Yeah, his character isn't bad. His in-ring performance remains to be seen.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna write him off because I'm just not. We've seen enough second, third, and fourth generation superstars eventually kind of come into their own. Dom hasn't been doing this long enough for us to be like, oh, he's absolute trash. He's never gonna be good. You got to give him time. He's getting better on the mic, but he's got to get better in those situations like 2 weeks ago when he was trying to get on the mic and the crowd was booing him and he was just getting overpowered. And Finn Balor had to kind of come in. Like it made him look weak as a heel. He's got to get better at pandering the crowd. He just does. He's got to get better at essentially making the crowd, his bitch, for lack of a better term. And I think he will. I think he with the right group of people to help him kind of get there. And I'm sure he's still getting tips and tricks from his dad, despite the on-screen back and forth that's going on. So,
hey, mijo, I know you hate me, and you know I think I'm bad dad, but this is what you should try to do in your next wrestling match.
Right? We forgot the highlight of the Zelina Vega and Rhea Ripley match was when she threw the chancla.
Oh, yeah,
that was the move right there. For those who don't know anything about that, get your culture game up. There's a reason why that moment was phenomenal.
I know a lot about that.
Hey, no, I'm with you. My adopted Hispanic family is good about that. We learn these things like that. That chancla was awesome, and it was an accurate throw. If y'all ain't see it, it was actually was a pretty damn accurate throw.
She
So
has experience.
she knew something. Yeah, she got either experience or trauma, one of the two. So following up with that match, of course, we have got to lead into, in my opinion, what was obviously the best match of the entire night, and that was Bad Bunny and Damian Priest. There are so many levels and layers to this match, starting with the most important one, the entrance and the pop. Man, the crowd turned up when Bad Bunny came out. And I saw a TikTok that came out like a day or two after the pay-per-view, and they talked about it, and he was like, oh, it was Mark Henry. You may have seen it. And Mark Henry said that Bad Bunny is the best celebrity wrestler in history. And I heard it, and then I started going back. I was like, let me think about this for a minute. And I started kind of going back, and I was like, I don't think he's wrong. When it comes to being polished and actually look like he belongs, I completely agree.
Him and Logan Paul are definitely close.
Like Bad Bunny looks like a student of WWE. Like he does. He's performing some of the reason I put an edge on Bad Bunny over Logan Paul is because some of the moves, the difficulty of the moves that Bad Bunny pulled off specifically at Backlash, no other celebrity wrestler was pulling that off.
And not to sort of interrupt what you're saying, but also people forget is that Logan Paul has incredible amount of athleticism that Bad Bunny does not have.
Yeah, and he's an amateur wrestler. Like people forget that Logan Paul is an amateur wrestler background. So he's
he's a boxer. He lost to KSI. I'm joking.
Yeah, so he's a little bit more of a refined athlete, but you can clearly see that Bad Bunny has put the work in. Like if he ever stops putting in music and goes full-time WWE, he would be a damn good WWE star without question. Back on this match as a whole, like I said, the entrance, phenomenal. The match itself was just like great because these two are like best friends in real life. Like grew up in the same area. Like these two know each other well. So it's amazing to watch the theatrics. And this is what a lot of people I don't think people talk about this enough. So I'll highlight it and I'll talk about it. The theatrics of WWE is also one of the most beautiful things because you have individuals that are literally best friends in real life, but on screen, they absolutely fucking hate each other. And that is, to me, a beautiful thing because I'm like, all right, you my road dog. We ride in the same rental vehicle. We stay in the same hotels, like all this shit. But on screen, I want to knock your fucking head off. And I have to portray this in a way that literally looks like, hey, man, I feel like if these two guys seen each other at the bar after this, they would get into another fight.
I'm going to smash this guy. Send me location. I'm going to smash this guy.
And it was crazy to watch that because you like knowing what we know, especially if you watched WrestleMania last year, you saw Bad Bunny and Damian Priest in that tag match. You saw it. So you saw how close they were. So to watch these two, and of course, Priest being the guy he is, the Taekwondo background, he's a large man. He may not look like it on screen. Damian Priest is a large man. And that Taekwondo background makes him a dangerous large man because large men as tall as he is throwing kicks like that. Nah, fam, miss me with that.
If I ain't gonna UFC, that would be fun.
Man, he would be
him versus Wonderboy Thompson. That would be fun.
Oh man,
that would be a fight.
I see what you said. Yeah. Oh yeah, and I love Wonderboy. That'd be a hell of a fight.
Yeah.
But when Bad Bunny pulled off that Michinoku driver, holy shit, I was blown away by that because that is a very, very difficult move, and Bad Bunny showed off some strength too, because the way he lifted up Damian Priest a couple times in this match, I was like, wait a minute, that was really good. Like, because you look one glance really at Bad Bunny, you don't foresee him being that. He doesn't look like he's that strong. Like, not to pick up I think Damian Priest is like 225 pounds. Like, he's a big guy, and Bunny picked him up fairly easy. Like, I'm obviously if they would have kept doing that, I feel like he would have got tired. But I was a big fan of this match. I loved all of the interference that came out when Carlito came out. Man. All right, so I was watching when Carlito first debuted in WWE is when I saw this guy. He actually is bigger now than he was when he first came out. And I mean bigger, I mean like muscle-wise. Yeah. Like he was like 15 pounds bigger on Saturday than he was when he first debuted, but it was great to see. This match for me was an 11. It was a solid 11. It went the way I thought any phenomenal street fight should have gone. I love the Bad Bunny went back to the old school attitude era and had the basket full of weapons. Like it was everything about it was great. And again, like the Puerto Rico crowd did this match that much more justice because they made it bigger. Damian Priest with the leg injury, he sold that so well. And you really thought like Bad Bunny was finna try to break this man's leg. Like it was everything about this match, the theatrics, the athleticism, everything about this match was just great to me. What were your thoughts on that?
My thoughts, 11. Just as you said, 11. It was awesome start to finish. The atmosphere, fantastic. Maybe something we'll never see again. Bad Bunny revealing the shopping cart that was nuts, bro. And we have to give credit to Priest as well. Great heel work from him. Great wrestling work to work with Bad Bunny. It was fantastic. And I like chaotic like interferences, but sometimes I don't like it. But this was a great time to do it. Savio Vega's return was a little bit weird though. Like, cause if you watch it back, like there wasn't the biggest amount of reaction, and it was like time stop.
And I agree, and that's just because a lot of people in that crowd probably weren't born, or they were really, really young. But most likely they weren't born, so they didn't really know. But unless you were native to Puerto Rico, you really don't really know a lot about Savio Vega. But if you get a chance, ladies and gentlemen, jump on YouTube and just go look. I promise you won't be disappointed. I promise you won't be disappointed. There's a lot of ties. There's a reason why he was so included in this match, and it was great.
So yeah, the interruptions, it was like 50-50. Like I liked 50% of it. The other 50% was like sort of weird because it was like time stumped. Like with him awkwardly like standing on the stage, like Dom and Finn just looking at him like this, like just looking at him like stupid, basically.
Yeah, like the problem I had with the interferences, and this is probably all, is that with the LWO specifically, you had Ray come out by himself, and I was like, wait, but why? Like, why? Because you already had Finn come out, you had Finn and Dom come out. And I'm like, so why would you have two come out and then have one come out? Like, if you would have done it like, all right, let those two come out and like, have Ray and the other members of, LWO come out, and then, Carlito and Savio Vega, follow suit. Now you got the reinforcements on top of the interference. Like, there's other ways they could have timed it.
And the pacing would have been much better.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But the pacing was, again, just like the first match we talked about, the timing of the interferences, it didn't take away from the match. The action in the match was great, but it did take away from the pace of the match, because the match had a combination of like a cruiserweight / heavy hardcore title match.
Yeah.
Because the outside the ring fighting, oh man, that choke slam that happened to Bad Bunny off of that damn AV suitcase. Oh man, it was great.
It was like a 205 live paper.
Yes, and there it is.
Like WWF like old school type of fight, which was
like the only thing that I would have loved to have seen added to the match is Bad Bunny doing something ridiculous off one of the high structures on the Damian Priest. Like that's the only thing, like one of those Shane McMahon type moments. That's probably like the only thing we were missing from this match. Because bomb. Yeah, like something like, even if it would have been just off a ladder, like that would have just taken that match that much further, because I guarantee you the crowd would have lost it had he done that. But I tell you what though, I would actually love to see these two fight again, but I'd like to see them fight in Hell in a Cell. I think they could put on a hell of a show in a Hell in a Cell match. All pun intended on that. Like these two, I think could do like, because then we'd really get a chance to possibly see like, maybe Bunny pull something off the cell. Or maybe these two in particular could reenact Undertaker and Mankind from way back when, Bunny getting thrown off the cell onto the announce table type of shit. Like that type of a moment for these two in particular could definitely be recreated because of their styles. Their styles blend well together as far as a match goes. Because Damian Priest is enough of a pro and Bad Bunny is well trained enough to do a perfect blend of what they did.
Well, what about a Logan Paul versus Bad Bunny type of fight for like who's the like? Would you like?
So that match has already been rumored. I don't know what type of match I'd like to see. I don't think it needs to be a standard match though, because I think that would be boring. But
falls count anywhere.
You know what? I'll take you a step further. Let's go last man standing.
Oh yeah.
Because now you combine that falls count anywhere plus that last man standing element. Now we can have the theatrics of from the top of the top of everything. Like now we can see all the crazy stuff.
Last man standing is such an easy. If I was in the WWE, I would just knock someone out with a roundhouse kick or like a knee, and I'll just win. Like, yeah, I won. Yeah.
Yeah, but like that match, like that, a last man standing match at WrestleMania with those two, I think it could be a great match.
Yeah, me too.
And now and you know what? What's even crazier is I would use that as the opening match of night one.
Oh, that would
because WrestleMania is that big, right? So you've got to do something that like sets the tempo for the rest of the night. And just like we saw, excuse me, Logan Paul's matches past WrestleMania, the antics, the theatrics, the things that he does is enough to draw the attention. And of course, you know he's going to do something crazy where he's going to have his phone and he's going to be going live like he did against Roman Reigns. Which, by the way, I actually thought that was one of the craziest, coolest things I had seen a wrestler do is literally be live on Instagram and perform a move. No one had ever done that before. I actually was a big fan of that. I was like, and then when you go back and watch the video of the video of the live, you're like, that was actually pretty fucking cool. Like it was new. No one had ever done that in wrestling before. So like, I actually thought that was really, really good.
Dude, and Logan Paul is like a marketer with that Prime. The Prime.
Yeah, because well, of course, I forget, you know, we have the addition of KSI because he was in the Prime mascot thing or whatever. So we'll see how that goes. But on to the co-main event. You had the Bloodline versus Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and Matt Riddle. I didn't like anything about this match.
No?
I didn't like the build-up. I guess the only thing good about this match is that it's showing like the cracks in the bloodline. I don't think the bloodline's about to be broken up, but I think they've got to do what you got.
I have a question. I didn't see that specific part of the match because I don't remember what I had to do, but I did watch a match, but that where Solo Sikoa was gonna like spike Jay. Can you explain to me why was that gonna happen? Because I didn't.
I got you. Let me give you what we call the synopsis of the match. So in this match, you had, of course, like I said, you had the Bloodline, you had Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle came back from injury because the Bloodline is what put him on the shelf. So you understood why this match happened. You had the Usos have lost now twice to the Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn for the titles, making the Tribal Chief all pissed off, all these things. Solo Sikoa getting this mysterious phone call that says, hey, it's your time. We don't know what it means yet. We'll probably find out in one of the next two SmackDowns.
Yeah.
But as the match goes on, the action in the match was good. Like there was nothing wrong with the match. I just didn't like it because
the buildup.
Yeah, because we're kind of losing ideas for this Bloodline, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, this Matt Riddle. Like we're losing a lot of ideas. So this was kind of like thrown together. The match overall was still about at 8 as far as the action goes. Yeah. And there was and now we'll talk about some of the controversies. So you were talking about the almost Samoan spike that happened to Jay. So what had happened is there was a lot of small animosities going on between Jay, Solo, and Jimmy. So there was a lot of like times where they were beating the brakes off of Sami Zayn, by the way. Sami Zayn was getting his ass whooped for the first 25% of this match. Like he couldn't
catch a break, tag out. Boom, every time.
There was a point in time about the 6.5, 7 minute mark of this match where they had Sami Zayn in the Usos corner, and all of a sudden Solo tags himself in. And everybody's like, ooh, the crowd's all getting all crazy. Solo comes in, continues to beat the brakes off of Sami. Then another tag happens. Jimmy comes in. Jimmy's doing his thing. And then boom, Solo tags himself back in again. Like it just they're building up this strange thing that we don't know. But there was a point in time where there was supposed to be a double team that happened during this whole little thing. There was a hot tag that happened. Solo was beating the brakes off of everybody. And then at one point, they had just knocked Kevin Owens out of the ring. Matt Riddle was getting done up by Jimmy. And then all of a sudden, Solo felt someone grab his shoulder, didn't realize it was his brother. He turned around, grabbed his arm, and was literally about milliseconds away from spiking, because this is the time, like I said, for my wrestling fans or my non-wrestling fans in this case who don't know what a hot tag That's when one person's been in the ring for entirely too long, and they struggle. They tag in, and all of a sudden they beat the shit out of everybody in the ring. That's your hot tag. It's meant to draw a pop in the crowd. So during this time, Solo was on fire, and he almost took his brother out. So before that, you had just seen Jay kick Jimmy in the face with a super kick because Kevin Owens went like this, caught him with that duck, and he knocked his brother out of the ring. That's what helped build up to that. So there's some interesting build up from that we'll find out, I guess, on Friday how it went. But obviously, the tribal chief is going to be happy that they won. But the fact that the Usos still don't have the championships is still kind of, making them feel some type of way.
It's like a lingering dread. Okay, you won this battle, but in terms of the war, you're losing because you don't have that belt on you.
Correct. And we're going to get into that when we talk about when we preview Night of Champions. So yeah, spoiler alert, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to preview. There's a couple of things that came out, and I want to get your GOAT's opinion since I have another avid wrestling fan on the show today. So I want to make sure we get that going. Let's get to the main event. Well, actually, before we do that, overall for the parts of the match you did get to see, what would you give that match rating wise?
In terms of the wrestling itself, I would give it 8.58.
Okay.
I always knew it was going to be a great match because Jay, Jimmy, Solo, and Sammy and Kevin Owens, those are 4 great wrestlers. And Matt Riddle too. I like his wrestling work too.
Yeah. I liked his UFC work. I don't know if you ever got a chance to watch Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle, if he could have just stayed clean,
he could.
Dude was a really, really good MMA fighter. Like, I watched him on The Ultimate Fighter, and I was like, dude, this guy.
What's he, a welterweight or lightweight?
He was a welterweight.
Oh yeah, dude.
He was really good. But I'll tell you who wasn't a good, in my opinion, was not that good of a UFC fighter.
Shayna Baszler. Yeah, Shayna Baszler. You remember when you see that? You were talking so much trash to Juliana Pena
and Juliana Pena dropped that ass. I was like, bro, Juliana Pena was meant to drop people. She's been doing it for forever.
Imagine Riddle versus Clay Guida in the match. That would be so crazy.
Man, you talk about a hard-hitting match, man. That would have been epic.
Riddle's going to be like, let's fight, bro. Come on, bro. Let's fight, man.
Oh, 100%. So leading up to the fantastic, not really, I was being sarcastic. The main event, Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar, which the fact that this match even happened was stupid. I'm saying it. It was stupid. I don't even know why Brock Lesnar is in the main event picture I'm done with Brock Lesnar. Like, I like Brock Lesnar. I've seen Brock Lesnar since he first started. Like, when this guy first debuted, the dude was a literal monster. Like, you have never, now mind you, as far as athletes go, Brock Lesnar is one of my favorite athletes that I've ever studied because nobody should be that big and that fast and that athletic. Like, Brock is he is an alpha male. And there's no denying that. You cannot be 278 pounds moving as fast as a 150-pound man.
Dude, you remember when I don't remember, was it Frank Mir? He dropped someone and in UFC he dropped someone and he just ran like a tank so fast and just boom, like tackled him. I don't remember who
that was. Frank Mir. That was the second Frank Mir fight after he got beat with the Kurt Angle ankle lock.
Horseshoe. I'm gonna drink a Coors Light. I love that. I love that post-fight press conference. Yeah, Joe Rogan's face too.
Oh yeah, 100%. But so overall though, I mean this fight, I'm gonna give it a solid 7. Brock did what Brock does, suplex you a million times. He did beat the hell out of Cody. I'm not gonna lie. Cody was getting tossed around, but everything changed when Cody somehow accidentally took the turnbuckle off that top rope and Brock missed and got hit and started bleeding. That spilled on into Monday Night Raw when he decided to beat the shot of Cody again. And now they apparently are going to fight at Night of Champions, which we'll segue into that here in a minute. But like I said, in my opinion, I gave this match a 7 just because I think because I think Cody is starting to lose a little bit of allure, a little bit of fire, which I knew this was going to happen. This is why I knew he wasn't going to beat Roman Reigns at WrestleMania and I told this to people. Nobody listened. I'm like, listen, let me tell you exactly what would happen. If Cody would have won, by the time SummerSlam rolled around, he would have been hated.
Mm-hmm.
He would have became very dull, very boring. Just like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are already boring. Like, say what
Like,
you want about the bloodline, but at least the bloodline keeps things compelling.
mm-hmm.
They just do. They're the hottest thing in wrestling literally since D-Generation X. Like, I'm saying it like that because they're the only thing that you can, there's so many layers to this story that it's unreal.
I
Your
mean,
thoughts on that main event?
I mean, I'll give it a 6.57. I mean, Cody's attack on Brock before the match was a smart way to even the playing field. I think
Mm-hmm.
Brock's suplexes were on point too. He was just tossing him around the ring, so it was a good start. Like I did like it, although the build up, blah blah blah, wasn't the best. I did think this was gonna be a good wrestling match. If we're just talking about wrestling,
Oh,
um,
yeah, 100%.
the
I'll
the,
give you
tur-
that.
the turnbuckle spot was a prime example of like blood contributing to a match.
Oh, yeah.
Um, the finish was a bit polarizing, I think, but it was clever. So I mean, good match. Much rather prefer the Bad Bunny match as the main event, but I'm not saying it's a bad match on the card. Yeah, it was still a good wrestling match, you know. But
Yeah.
as you said with Cody, I was saying this to a lot of people. Cody's storyline is not fit to become a champion like before Roman. Like, oh, I'm gonna do this for my dad. Well,
Yeah, no.
Roman has so many storylines with Sami Zayn, the bloodline, blah blah blah. The fact that no one is able to beat him. Like Cody,
And he's coming up on 1,000 days.
dude, I'm gonna be honest. I don't think Cody should have beat Solo Sikoa's like undefeated
No,
streak. I don't think he
no,
should have done
I
that.
don't think
That
that
was a
either.
mistake.
Solo should have stayed unbeaten for a lot longer because I think there's going to be a time where Solo's going to be in the, well, I guess now he's going to be in the U.S. title picture because they've swapped position because the Intercontinental title is now on Raw and U.S. is on
Mhm.
SmackDown. So there's that element to it. But no, I completely agree though.
Cause like with Solo Sikoa's character, I liked him on NXT a lot.
Oh yeah, no, I
Um,
loved him on NXT.
and this character about the enforcer in the bloodline role is good, but when we look at it on uh solo, like this
Yeah,
solo against other like just 1v1, it isn't the best because you just say, oh, he's the enforcer. Like now
yeah.
you say, oh, he's the enforcer for the bloodline.
Yeah, but
But
like Solo
but
on NXT as when he got
yeah,
his street champion persona, he actually had some really, really good matches.
yeah,
Like he
with
really did. Him and Carmelo Hayes put on a damn good match. Like there was some great matches he put on before, and then of course he went and literally won the NXT the North American title for a little bit and had to relinquish it obviously. But
but like and as I was saying, like with him having his undefeated streak, you could say, oh, he's the enforcer for the bloodline and he's not been beaten in a 1v1 match so far. So that can make things interesting. But now that Cody Rhodes beat him for absolutely no reason, what is there to really say? I mean, I think now they're going to start building his character a little bit more with that, mysterious
mm-hmm.
thing going on. But in terms of this match, I was just saying, like, good wrestling match, solid wrestling match. 7. I'll give it.
Yeah, so that'll wrap us up as far as Backlash goes. So I saw an article come out today, and they're basically Night of Champions predictions. So we'll see how much validity comes out from this, but I wanted to get your thoughts on this. I'm gonna go down. They've listed 8 matches. I'll list the matches off, and then I'll dive into a couple of them just on the reasons why the matches exist. But number 8, you've got Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan, obviously the women's tag champs, versus Damage Control versus Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville. So you're talking about a triple threat tag match. That'll be interesting. We'll see how that goes.
I don't
Number
like
7.
Sonya. I don't like Sonya Deville's tag team, to be honest. I don't like it that
I don't
much.
either. I don't like Chelsea Green either, but that's just
Yeah, Chelsea.
I don't like annoying as characters.
Greatest
She's
women's fighter of all time, Chelsea Green. She's the GOAT. She's a SIM card of the women's division.
She is not. She is the Akira Tozawa of the women's division.
She's the Tito Ortiz of the WWE.
Oh my God, here we go.
Let's not start
about no. So number 7, you've got the Street Profits versus the Usos for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Now, at first read, you're like, wait, that don't make sense. Why would they be fighting for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships? So let me explain that to you, ladies and gentlemen. So Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, we know they're the tag team champions, but the duo does not compete in Saudi Arabia. Why is that important? Because Night of Champions, specifically as a pay-per-view, means every title's on the line. So what does that mean? It means that there is a good chance that they're going to split the tag titles. I think this was always going to be in the cards, but this is a way for them to split the title without making Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn look weak. So what they're talking about potentially, as it's a rumor, but is having either putting the belts on the Street Profits, or having just the Street Profits versus the Usos. The winner takes the SmackDown titles. This is a way to either put the belts back on the Usos, or finally giving the Street Profits what, in my opinion, they deserve, which is a shot and to be the tag champs once again. Because all the rumors for months and months and months, oh, we're going to split up the Street Profits and this, that, and the other, and all of a sudden, the Street Profits look stronger than ever. So curious to see how that's going to go the next couple weeks, but we'll see.
Can I say just a couple of things on it? In terms of it, I would like to see it being like winner takes all, and I want it to be the Street Profits because I think it'll make it interesting for the Usos and the Bloodline to see how Roman Reigns will react. Solo Sikoa, it'll be like, you couldn't beat the Street Profits. Like, I understand losing to Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, but the Street Profits, and yeah, I feel like the Street Profits as a duo are entertaining as hell on the mic wrestling, and they definitely do deserve it if you're going to keep this duo together. So,
100%.
So Micah's down bad as a Manchester United fan right now.
Yeah, man. So shout out to my co-host, man, Micah B. He is out there in another country. He is stuck out there. He was supposed to be on the show tonight, but due to issues with the flights, for lack of a better term, my man got stuck out there. So what is he doing? What he does best, living his best life, partying it up. So shout out to you, my co-host.
He's eating mulitas right now.
Oh, so match number 6, which I actually think this match could be really, really good. You've got Gunther versus Matt Riddle for the Intercontinental Championship.
Wow,
that has potential to be a really good match. Those styles for each other are very complementary, and that could make for a very hard-hitting match.
I got a Matt Riddle by round 3 TKO. I'm joking.
Number 5, I don't actually understand this match. Maybe I'm missing something as far as the story goes, but it's currently rumored as Austin Theory versus LA Knight for the US Championship.
That's weird, but we'll see if they do a story. I mean, LA Knight is entertaining, Austin Theory is entertaining, but we'll have to see if they can build this up.
LA Knight's also 40-something years old too, and people don't know.
Yeah.
Number 4, you've got Rhea Ripley versus Natalya for the Raw Women's Championship. Makes sense because if you did watch this past Raw, you completely understand why. Because Natalya, after the match that Rhea Ripley had against Dana Brooke, decided to show up and not really do anything. But she stood in the ring like she was some Billy Badass when we know that she's not. I hate to say it. They've tried every single method to build Natalya and nothing seems to work. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's she doesn't lack charisma. Mm-hmm. I think she's really good on the mic. She's a great technical wrestler. Mm-hmm. But something is missing to where they just, for some reason, don't feel like ever putting the title on her, and I don't understand why.
Me neither. She's been in the game for so many years. I remember playing with her in 2K15.
Yeah,
and still, yeah.
So
but
the biggest,
I know she's your favorite type, though, right? Her and what's that one called? Carmella. Those are your favorite types.
Carmella far from my favorite. And I know why you said it about Natalya, but we ain't gonna talk about that on this show right now. But in a later show, it'll definitely come up. Of this list, when I looked at it, this match right here is one of my favorites if it actually happens. And it's Bianca Belair versus Charlotte Flair for the SmackDown Women's Championship. It's only my favorite because you have what they like to say, arguably the greatest woman wrestler of all time in Charlotte Flair, and you have Bianca Belair, who is at some point going to be in that conversation because of her overall skill set. We talked about it with these athletes turned wrestlers. Yes, we know that Charlotte Flair is a second generation wrestler. We got that, but her athleticism speaks for itself, point blank period. And her and Bianca Belair's styles fit extremely well in a match. Like, They do. This is like another like AJ Styles versus Seth Rollins type of feel because their styles literally blend so well together. And that's the only reason why I'm compelled by this match. Obviously, Bianca Belair is not losing this title, so to see Charlotte Flair actually lose again, because she did lose recently, would be strange. It really would, but I can't see them taking the belt off of Bianca Belair because it wouldn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's like keeping Charlotte Flair as a champion against Rhea Ripley. It did not make sense. It's not going to make sense, right?
Agreed.
So, as much as we've been accustomed to Charlotte Flair winning, I think it's a bit refreshing that I'm not a hater. I don't want anyone to lose, but it's refreshing that she's losing some of these matches. Like, okay, there's some young competition, next competition that can really step up and win these titles.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like for the longest time we got forced Charlotte. I'm like, bro, we know who she is. Yeah,
It was like Roman Reigns. It was like not the same thing, but it was like in terms of forcing them, like
Well, at least Roman was built slowly. Charlotte, by the time, when she first debuted, then all of a sudden she's already a 13, 14 time champion. You're like, what the fuck? You're like, damn. Like, Roman was a build. Roman had to cut his teeth. I'm gonna say it like that. He had to get better on the mic. Of course, there was everything with the Shield. Once the Shield broke up, and there was a lot that had to happen because we would not have the Roman Reigns we have now without the feud between Roman and Cena the first time, not the second time. Second time, whole different. That was the best version of Roman you saw. Was the second time him and Cena. The first time, Roman had no business in the ring with John Cena. And I'm not talking about from a wrestling perspective, from a microphone perspective. John Cena is still one of the greatest on the mic, and he embarrassed Roman Reigns far and away.
Man, but I'm still waiting for that Charlotte Flair versus Nia Jax UFC fight.
Oh, here you go.
Who do you got?
I'm gonna take Nia Jax. Look. I think he's trying to come in.
Oh yeah. Hey, say, bro. Your goat. Hold on now, bro. I hear you. I'm here now. I hear you, bro. What's going on, people?
DJ Michael B, ladies and gentlemen. He has found a way to persevere, given his situation.
Yep, I went on the back porch and I was like, all right, I think the music is soft enough back here. So
bet that. Hopefully your internet connection stay strong. We rocking and rolling. We're doing we're talking about I'm sure you've probably been listening to, but we're doing a Night of Champions preview. A couple links came out, so I wanted to verify from a couple sources. So we're at the number 2 spot. You have Seth Rollins versus Sheamus for the World Heavyweight Championship. I am completely not against this at all. I think this could be a really, really good match, but Seth Rollins is going to win this match. And the reason why I say that is because Seth Rollins has done everything WWE has asked him to do. He took a lot of major pay-per-view losses to build other guys up. He cut his teeth and did things that he didn't deserve the dragging that he was getting. He took that loss to Cody Rhodes like a champ. He shouldn't have lost like he did. But now this is WWE's way of paying him back because he has done all the dirty work. And now it's time to reward him like this. And I completely am on board with Seth Rollins being the first of world heavyweight champion win this belt. And that's a beautiful looking belt, by the way. I don't care what nobody say. It looks good. It ain't the old gold that we all wanted, but I did see 2 other concepts where in the background it had the black trim behind the gold, and another one it had, I believe it had red trim. With the black, I like it. The black sets the gold off with that belt. I think it would have looked really good. With white, it would have looked stupid. But with
it would have looked like that intercontinental.
Yes. But I do like the white. I mean, I like the black accenting the gold because black and gold always looks good together, except for on the New Orleans Saints uniform. I say what I said.
Facts.
I knew Michael was going to chime in on that one. Oh man,
that's why Lions jerseys are the best. So
I would say I'm not gonna lie. I do like the color scheme. That nice blue gray is actually a really good combo. I ain't gonna knock you on that, but
I will say this. You know how much I like Sheamus. You know, I've always been a fan of Sheamus. So, but on the flip side of that, Seth Rollins has taken a lot of losses at pay-per-views now, and he has single-handedly carried Raw for quite some time as the main eventer on Raw. He's taken on every main eventer that's in Raw. So I do believe that Seth Rollins should be the first champion, and he should win at Night of Champions. If WWE screws this up, I will be very upset with them because they have no reason not to put their belts around Seth Rollins, plain and simple. So Seth Rollins back on the championship scene, then he should be the champion.
100%. And number one, I don't have a lot of understanding about this one, but we're going to see what you guys think about this. Number one, the rumor is Roman Reigns versus AJ Styles for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship at Night of Champions.
What?
Now, I know that AJ Styles and what the fuck do they call those other guys? Whatever the hell their tag team is called. It's a stupid.
Is that the OT?
Yeah, but just go ahead and bring the fucking Bullet Club to WWE. How many times we got to advocate for this shit? The Bullet Club is like one of the biggest fraternities in wrestling. Like, bring the Bullet Club to fucking WWE. But whatever, I digress. I don't understand it because I know AJ Styles and Shinsuke like just came back and they're trying to figure something out. I don't know what AJ Styles is going to do to insert himself into this conversation, but we got a couple weeks to figure it out. This pay-per-view does happen pretty quick, pretty soon. So we'll see. We'll have the conclusion of the tournament Friday from SmackDown side of it for the World Heavyweight Championship. So we'll see whether Sheamus pulls it off or if
surprisingly someone else does. But
that's currently what they have as the preview. So there's your Night of Champions preview. Some of those obviously they're not set in stone. Oh, sorry, I forgot. One match that is for the most part looks like it's set in stone is going to be Brock Lesnar versus Cody Rhodes again, which doesn't make sense because, like we talked about 7 minutes ago, Night of Champions is literally about every championship being on the line. Why the fuck is there a non-title match happening?
I want to know why Cody Rhodes isn't fighting Roman Reigns again. Is their plan to wait till SummerSlam? I'm not getting it.
Look, it's exactly like we talked about. Cody is losing fire. Point blank.
Yeah, they're waiting too long to crown him a champion.
He's not going to be a good champion. He's going to be boring.
I think they should give him like a month reign and then probably pull it off of him.
What I think they're going to do, and this is probably how it's going to go. They're going to wait until Roman surpasses 1,000 days. And I think they'll take the belt off of Roman at SummerSlam. As I think that's when it's going to happen. That's just my opinion. Because if
Cody Rhodes doesn't dethrone him, who will?
No. And here's the reason why I think they'll do it this way.
This guy right here on my profile picture. That's who's going to win.
Yeah, okay.
That don't look like Jeff Hardy to me.
No, so they'll take it off of Roman at SummerSlam, and then I think somehow, some way, Roman gonna flip around and win the fucking Royal Rumble and be back in the main event at WrestleMania again. He ain't out of this main event picture, that's for sure.
You know what I would like to see Cody Rhodes do to build his character? Go after the Intercontinental Championship, even if you don't win. I just want to see something refreshing. I want to see you build your character instead of just saying, I want the title because my dad didn't get the title and my dad passed away, so I'm going to do it for him. That's not interesting enough. That's not fun enough.
Yeah. No, and I mean, and you're right. I mean, at this point, but I think because he's on SmackDown, so he would actually now be going after the U.S. title.
Oh yeah.
Since they did the whole swap thing. But same concept, going after the mid-card title. Like the concept of what you're saying is 100% true. If that's what they're going to do. But I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, those are just predictions. We'll see how it goes. I'll keep an eye on SmackDown Friday, see if they do anything with AJ Styles at all.
Just let Jay just cause dissension in the bloodline and let Jay take the damn belt.
There's already dissension. I'm sure you watch Backlash, so you saw.
Yeah.
So we'll see what the conclusion of that shit's going to be too, because of course they're going to address that on Friday as well. But like I say, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. That right there, ladies and gentlemen, will wrap up a phenomenal episode of Gentleman's Talk. I want to give a special shout out to your GOAT for stepping in for my normal everyday co-host, my brother DJ Mike Habib, simply because he is in a whole ass other country right now doing what he do best.
Yeah.
aka live his best life.
He's chilling, eating molitas,
hey,
and DJing. So
hey, it be like that sometimes.
It do. But, it really do. Appreciate you, man. I appreciate you for stepping in for me, dog.
But make sure, ladies and gentlemen, make sure y'all like us, subscribe us, check us out, follow the Discord, catch us on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, anywhere you catch your podcast. Of course, check us out on YouTube, where we are currently streaming live from. And never, ever forget, we ain't going nowhere. All right?
And tomorrow,
let them know.
Players versus teams. Y'all got to be there. It is a show where bias is accepted. Get in the comments and say what you got to say. Address it.
And get ready for our action-packed Friday football show. The NFL is releasing the schedule tomorrow, and you already know it's about to go down.
David Carr.
Ooh.
Oh man, your GOAT. Any last words, bro?
I might be able to pull up.
What?
I said you got any last words?
Oh,
I might be able to pull up for the Friday show.
I bet that. Most definitely. Your GOAT. What you got?
Appreciate you guys for having me on the show. It was a fantastic show talking about sports, talking about WWE. I hope all you guys enjoy the show. Timestamps will be up soon, probably today or in the next day or so you can enjoy this show fluently. Links will be posted in the chat as well. So if you want to listen to save this episode on Spotify, you can go right ahead and do so, clicking the link that I will send you today. So yeah, it was a great show. Enjoyed it a lot. Sin Cara is still the greatest wrestler of all time, and Killian Hayes still the greatest basketball player of all time. So yeah.
DJ Michael B, any last words?
I apologize to y'all, man. I will be back next week. United canceled my flight from out of another country, which is Trinidad and Tobago. But hey, we're gonna rock and roll with it. Hopefully, I get a chance to pull up on the show Friday because my flight should be landing at 12:21 America's time.
My man dropped a whole time stamp.
American time. Yep.
You heard him. So
yeah, because it's 2:21 here.
You're right. So I want to send out a special shout out to your GOAT. For those who do not know, he is our social media extraordinaire. All of the thumbnails and things that you see on From the Sidelines come from this young prodigy over here. So check it out. I love his work. Keep doing what you're doing. Of course, I always love my co-host. I see you next week from the Sideline Chronicles. We are back with another one. You're going to see some live and in color craziness coming next week from the sidelines. I am your man, Mr. GQ. We just had your GOAT on. DJ Michael B was on. Ladies and gentlemen, we are.
I am your boy, DJ Michael B.
I feel like I'm alone. I feel like I'm unknown to the world that's full of clones. My originality's focused on principalities broken. I'm loaning my heart and soul to the game that's scared to pay it back. And failure is a motherfucker. The strength to